Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Think of this as Dr. Chem's masterclass, where we're going to dive right in and flawlessly conquer the mathematics of the molecular world. If you've ever stared at a chemical equation and wondered how scientists actually measure out the exact amounts of invisible atoms they need in a real-world lab, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we are going to completely demystify the three fundamental stoichiometric conversions: mass, moles, and the number of particles. Here is our quick syllabus for today's masterclass. We'll start with the micro to macro problem, meet Avogadro's giant number, unlock molar mass, master single-step conversions, and then finally defeat the ultimate two-step challenge. Okay, let's jump right into section 1, the micro to macro problem. We're starting with a seemingly impossible hurdle here. How exactly do we count chemical things that are simply too small to even see? Think about the sheer scale difference we're dealing with. A single, totally invisible water molecule has a tiny, tiny mass of just 18.0 atomic mass units, or AMU. You obviously can't measure out atomic mass units on a standard lab scale. But on the flip side, a beaker holding 18.0 grams of water? Now that is a tangible amount you can easily measure, pour, and observe. So our core challenge is that we need a mathematical bridge to connect that microscopic atomic scale directly to the macroscopic laboratory scale. That brings us to section 2, meet Avogadro's giant number. To actually cross this bridge from the micro to the macro, we need a special, almost magic weapon. We need a constant that binds these two worlds together. And here it is. Behold Avogadro's number, 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd power. I mean, this is an incomprehensibly massive constant. To put it into perspective, if you somehow had this many pennies, they'd literally cover the entire surface of the Earth to a depth of several miles. But for our purposes in chemistry, this number is absolutely perfect. It's the exact number of particles required to translate atomic mass units directly into grams that we can physically weigh in the lab. The most crucial takeaway here is that a mole is simply a counting unit. That's all it is. Just like a dozen always means 12, or a pair always means 2, 1 mole means 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd power of anything. It could be a mole of atoms, a mole of molecules, or a mole of ions. You can think of it as just a really, really large batch size that's designed specifically for human-scale chemistry. Actually, before we get into the math, here's a quick, fun historical fact for you. The term molar was first introduced by the German chemist August Wilhelm Hofmann back around 1865. And the noun mole was heavily championed by Wilhelm Ostwald around the turn of the 20th century. Interestingly enough, it comes from the Latin word malis. The Romans originally used that word to describe really heavy harbor breakwaters and massive millstones, which is kind of fitting, right? It's a concept that gives heavy physical mass to completely invisible atoms. All right, moving on to section 3, molar mass as the conversion key. Now that we're comfortable with our counting unit, the mole, what's really fascinating is how we actually link it to physical weight. Enter molar mass. This is our master key. By definition, molar mass tells us exactly how many grams are in 1 mole of any element or compound. And honestly, the best part is, you don't even have to memorize it. You literally just look at the periodic table. The atomic weight of an element in atomic mass units is numerically equal to the mass in grams of 1 mole of that element. So, for example, 1 mole of carbon is exactly 12 grams. Easy as that. If you visualize this as a master conversion map, you'll see our overall mathematical strategy. The mole acts as the central hub. You absolutely cannot go directly from grams to tiny particles. You have to go through the mole first. So to jump between grams and moles, you use molar mass from the periodic table. And to go between moles and formula units, or particles, you use Avogadro's number. Okay, section 4, mastering single-step conversions. Armed with our master map and the factor label method, let's actually run through some real calculations. Here is Dr. Chem's first challenge for you. If I were to hand you exactly 6.58 moles of pure silicon in the lab, exactly how heavy is that in grams? We always start with what we're given, which is 6.58 moles of silicon. Then we glance at the periodic table and find silicon's molar mass is 28.1 grams per mole. We set up our fractions so the moles cancel out perfectly on the top and bottom. We multiply 6.58 by 28.1, and boom, we effortlessly reveal that our sample weighs 185 grams. Simple enough. So let's try flipping it and going the other way, from moles to particles. What if we need to find the exact number of individual molecules bouncing around inside 3.0 moles of water? Because we're dealing with particle counts here, we don't even need the periodic table this time. We just need Avogadro's number. We take our starting 3.0 moles of water and multiply it by our conversion factor, 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd molecules over 1 mole. The mole units safely cancel out, and multiplying those numbers uncovers a totally staggering 1.8 times 10 to the 24th molecules of water. Which brings us to section 5, the ultimate two-step challenge. You've totally mastered the single steps. You know exactly how to use molar mass, and you know how to wield Avogadro's number. Now, let's combine them to defeat the final boss, the two-step conversion. Picture this scenario. You have exactly 54.0 grams of aluminum foil. How many individual invisible atoms of aluminum are you actually holding in your hand right now? Notice what we're doing here. We are skipping the word mole completely in the question because we want to go straight from grams all the way over to atoms. But remember our master map. The mole is the hub, you can't skip it. First, we cross the bridge from mass to moles by dividing our 54.0 grams by aluminum's molar mass, which is 26.98. The grams cancel out. Then, we immediately jump from moles to atoms by multiplying that result by Avogadro's number. The moles cancel out. Run that calculation and it yields 1.20 times 10 to the 24th atoms. Let's reverse the whole shebang for one final real-world challenge. Let's say a standard can of citrus soda contains roughly 1.71 times 10 to the 20th molecules of caffeine. What is the actual physical mass of that caffeine in grams? We pass right back through the mole again. We divide our massive number of molecules by Avogadro's number to get our moles. Next, we multiply by caffeine's molar mass, which is about 194.2 grams per mole. The units cancel perfectly, leaving us with 0.0551 grams. So it literally takes just a tiny fraction of a single gram to keep you awake. Now, real quick, to make absolutely sure you pass your exams with flying colors, here is an insider guide to what those tricky test questions are actually asking you to do. When an exam uses the word calculate, they want to see your full factor label method written out. If they say determine, it usually means you need to pull data from an experiment to work out the molar mass yourself. And if they say show that, well, they are already giving you the answer. Your job is just to mathematically prove how they got there. Which leaves us with this final thought for today's masterclass. You now have the incredible power to literally weigh the invisible and count the unseeable. If a single mathematical constant, Avogadro's giant number, can so seamlessly bridge the microscopic universe and the macroscopic world you interact with every single day, well, what other invisible connections are out there just waiting for you to calculate? Keep exploring, keep questioning everything, and we will see you in the next explainer.